Welcome to PsychWSigmund, the podcast where we explore the fascinating world of psychology and its relevance to our everyday lives. I'm your host, Sigmund, and today we're going to delve into a topic that's both intriguing and unsettling: intrusive thoughts. Intrusive thoughts are unwanted, recurring thoughts, images, or urges that invade our minds without warning. They can be disturbing, distressing, and even lead us to question our own sanity. But what exactly are intrusive thoughts, and why do they happen? To understand this concept, let's start with a brief overview of its history in psychological theory. The concept of intrusive thoughts has been around for centuries, but it wasn't until the late 19th century that psychologists began to study it systematically. One of the key figures in this area was Sigmund Freud, who believed that intrusive thoughts were a manifestation of the unconscious mind, revealing repressed desires, conflicts, or unresolved issues. However, as our understanding of psychology evolved, so did our theories about intrusive thoughts. Today, we know that they can be related to various psychological conditions, such as anxiety disorders, obsessive-compulsive disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and even personality disorders. There are several major psychological theories that explain this concept, including cognitive behavioral theory, psychodynamic theory, and neuropsychological theory. Cognitive behavioral theorists believe that intrusive thoughts are a result of maladaptive thinking patterns, such as catastrophizing or overestimating the likelihood of negative events. Psychodynamic theorists, on the other hand, propose that intrusive thoughts are a manifestation of unconscious conflicts, desires, or unresolved issues. According to this perspective, our unconscious mind is constantly processing information, and sometimes this processing can lead to the emergence of unwanted thoughts or images. Neuropsychological theory suggests that intrusive thoughts may be related to abnormalities in brain structure or function, particularly in regions responsible for emotional regulation, such as the amygdala or prefrontal cortex. Research has shown that individuals with a history of trauma or stress may exhibit altered neural activity patterns, which can contribute to the development of intrusive thoughts. Speaking of research, there have been numerous studies on intrusive thoughts, ranging from experimental designs to clinical observations. One classic study published in the Journal of Abnormal Psychology found that approximately 90% of the general population experiences intrusive thoughts at some point in their lives. Another study published in the Journal of Clinical Psychology discovered that individuals with OCD are more likely to experience intrusive thoughts related to contamination, symmetry, or harm. More recent research has focused on the neural mechanisms underlying intrusive thoughts. For example, a study using functional magnetic resonance imaging found that individuals with PTSD exhibit increased activity in the amygdala and decreased activity in the prefrontal cortex when exposed to trauma-related cues. How can we use this knowledge to help people in their everyday lives? Well, for starters, recognizing that intrusive thoughts are a common experience can be incredibly liberating. It means that you're not alone, and there's nothing inherently wrong with you. Therapeutic approaches like cognitive behavioral therapy and acceptance and commitment therapy have been shown to be effective in managing intrusive thoughts. CBT helps individuals identify and challenge distorted thinking patterns, while ACT focuses on increasing psychological flexibility and promoting values-based action in the presence of unwanted thoughts. Let me share a case study that illustrates this concept. One of my clients, Sarah, was plagued by recurring thoughts of harming her loved ones. These thoughts were so disturbing that she began to avoid social interactions and felt like she was losing control over her own mind. Through CBT, we worked on identifying and challenging her distorted thinking patterns, as well as developing coping strategies to manage her anxiety. For example, Sarah learned to recognize the physical sensations in her body when she started to experience intrusive thoughts, such as a racing heart or tense muscles. She then practiced relaxation techniques, like deep breathing and progressive muscle relaxation, to calm her body and reduce the intensity of the thoughts. We also worked on reframing her negative self-talk, replacing self-criticisms with more compassionate and realistic statements. Another example is the use of mindfulness meditation in managing intrusive thoughts. Mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment or attachment. By cultivating a mindful attitude towards their thoughts, individuals can learn to observe intrusive thoughts as mere mental events, rather than threatening or disturbing experiences. As we conclude our exploration of intrusive thoughts, remember that these experiences are a natural part of the human condition. By acknowledging and accepting them, rather than trying to suppress or avoid them, we can begin to break free from their grip. So, the next time you find yourself beset by unwanted thoughts, take a deep breath and remind yourself that you're not alone. Intrusive thoughts may be unsettling, but they don't define us. We are more than our thoughts, and we have the power to choose how we respond to them. By cultivating self-compassion, challenging distorted thinking patterns, and practicing mindfulness, we can learn to manage intrusive thoughts and live a more fulfilling life. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the world of psychology. If you'd like to learn more about intrusive thoughts or other topics related to mental health, please visit our website or check out our social media channels. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, may your ego find balance between pleasure and reality.